I was astonished at this. Easter Island is the location of the prison for the legendary giant Titans. Latest claim. This is a translation from a Greek article I just found. Easter Island, or Rapa Nui, in the Pacific. Location meaning Big Island. It was rediscovered in modern times by Dutch explorer Jacob Roggeveen. He arrived there on Easter Day in 1722, thus it's called Easter Island. It's a location in the South Pacific between Chile and Tahiti. When narrating their past, the locals, among them white, confirmed that they were descendants of the god Hla, Tiki, and Rogo. The first synthetic of the first name Hala refers to the Velos Elon Saturn. The Babylonian called Saturn as Velos, and the second synthetic to a god of Middle America. The second name Rong refers to Ra, King Wu or Giu in fact appears to have been a guard in the island by Zeus, to guard the exiled Saturn and his allies. This is from the book Theogonia, page 807 to 819. If the links are true, then this particular island became the prison of the Titans because it was and is one of the most isolated islands in the world. The famous and well-known giant statue of Moai also has the illustrative name of Mate Kite Rani, and according to one version, this name could be translated as eyes looking at the sky. Moreover, the look of statues looking at the sky. Another version, perhaps a bit more advanced, wants to be translated as Macedonia, Macedonia of heaven. Maktia, Macedonia, Macedonia of heaven. Perhaps all of this may be too much to imagine, but the many Greek idioms in the language of the inhabitants of Easter Island, but also in far Asia, Australia, and Polynesia, Melanesia, Indonesia, seem to confirm at least that some ancient Greeks, and there at a time today we may call it mythological. It confirms, that is, at least, that some ancient aliens did arrive there, and there, at one point in time, up to today, it's called mythology. Now, Easter Island, one of the most significant evidence linking at least the Greek culture influence on the island and its inhabitants came from a foreign researcher, the German professor of linguistics, Mr. Norris S. Josephson. After 8 years of research, he summarized his findings in English. Quote, Greek linguistic elements in the Polynesian languages, Hellenicum Pacificum, end quote. The edition of the historic German University of Heidelberg in 1987, in which he presented a table of 108 ancient Greek words whose roots are in the Polynesian languages, including Easter Island. It's worth noting that Easter Island culture has many ancient Greek and Egyptian origins. According to Davos magazine, in an interview with Nancy Biska for Davos magazine, quote, the operators of Greek culture who settled in eastern Polynesia apparently came from an area of modern Peru and Bolivia, since Easter Island culture has many similarities from the aforementioned region in the pre-Inca eras. Thus, the synthetic tiki we met in the beginning is somewhat confirmed. In addition, ocean currents moved southwest from the coast of Peru to southeastern Polynesia. These Greek-speaking inhabitants spoke ancient Greek and also conveyed an archaic Greek culture with numerous additional Egyptian elements reminiscent of Cyprus and the Cyclade islands, such as Naxos, Milos of the Aegean. He goes on to say that, quote, there is also linguistic and archaeological evidence that we may well have had multiple migrations to ancient Peru and the Easter Island. For example, the Inca architecture uses zigzag wall constructions and trapezoid entrances reminiscent of the Mycenaean originals. So it's possible that there were pre-ancient Greek immigrants to South America. Cargo ship of Kyrenia, 380 BC. Indeed, the ability of the Greeks to expand to such a scale beyond Sicily, southern Italy, and ports of Spain was possible thanks to many innovations in shipbuilding and navigation systems. In addition, the Greek table in tin, the Greek trade with tin with England, which appears to date from 1000 BC, familiarized Greek seafarers with the Strait of Gibraltar, the so-called Columns of Hercules, and the Moroccan coast. From this point, the southwest flows easily transport ships to the Caribbean or off the north coast of South America, a short distance to the Inca cultural centers of Peru and Bolivia. In other words, they're saying here that if they caught the favorable trade winds, they would very nicely and easily get to the east coast of South America. Mr. Josephson also mentions that there is a lot of parallel between the older Eastern Island music and the Nazca melodies in southern Peru on one hand, and the ancient Greek music on the other. And he ends his interview by saying how Greek culture has contributed. This is amazing. It's amazing that recently they published their findings concerning the quote, Greek linguistic elements in the Polynesian languages, Hellenicum Pacificum, that is Greek of the Pacific, in the historic German University of Heidelberg in 1987, in which he presented, that's German professor of linguistics, Mr. Norris S. Josephson, presented a table of 108 ancient Greek words whose roots are in the Polynesian languages, including Easter Island. Amazing. Tell me what you think. I think, the seafarers really knew about the trade winds, and perhaps also the fact that 1,000 years BC, it could have been that the sea levels were a little bit more different than they are today. I have no idea. I'm not a geologist, but this is fascinating to me. Tell me what you think. If you'd like to join me on my Patreon account, you will hear content not covered by mainstream media. These riveting stories will be based on my research, and I will state my opinions and give my personal insight on diverse and controversial subjects and world events not covered by mainstream media, and not supported by YouTube guidelines. So whatever I have on my Patreon, most of those will not be on my YouTube channel. Please consider becoming a member today. More of the most significant and important videos will be on my Patreon channel. Your support helps me to continue my research and keeps this YouTube channel alive. And we depend on your support, your generous charity, because we help economically challenged families here in Athens, Greece, in Kapota, and we also help the young generation with university tuition and the community around our church. Thank you.